because you don't want to be running up and down too much and be leaving your defense open. So we'll see how Nestor plays that out with Venezuela. Now Cuba, though, a couple of players that we want to see them come out. Here we have the starting five, Greg. And so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
The starting five for Venezuela. Number 4, Miguel Noriaga at center, 6'9", 206 centimeters. Number 5, Gregory Vargas at point guard, 5'11", 182 centimeters. At forward, 6'5", 196 centimeters. Number 6, John Cox. Number 12, Javier Vargas, 6'9", 206 centimeters. And at forward, number 43, Nestor Colmenares. At forward, 6'7", 203 centimeters. As you said, they are coached by Nestor Garcia. There you see the starters for Cuba. At guard, number 5, Osmel Oliva, 5'10", 178 centimeters. Also at guard, number 11, Uniskel Molina, 6 feet, 185 centimeters. At forward, number 15, Yaciel Rivero, 6'8", 204 centimeters. The captain, William Granda. Number 10, and Yuan Haiti, number 12 at center. Got to listen into the Venezuelan huddle. Once again, welcome into the Palacio de los Deportes in Mexico City for the 2015 FIBA Americas Championship Tournament. Moments away from tip-off. Our first match of the day, the first of 4, Cuba and Venezuela, coming up at 2:30 local time, Uruguay and Brazil. Then at 6 o'clock this evening, Argentina and Puerto Rico. Followed up at 8:30 by the Dominican Republic and the host nation, Mexico.
Well, it's good to keep in mind that everybody will play against everybody. Therefore, the points, if you have a 3-way tie, are also important. So you might see in the end of the game, if a team is up by 15 or whatever the score may be, they can call a timeout to try to increase that lead, because the wins, the losses, and the points for and the points against may play out in the end of the tournament.
Ball's in the air, and we are underway. Yaciel Rivero wins the tip for Cuba. Granda on the right wing. Down low to Haiti. Back out to Granda. Spin move trying to get around Vargas. Now he shoots from the wing. Shot is no good. Rebound to Cox. Now Vargas, he drives. Gets to the right elbow. Now back outside. Back to Vargas. Now a pretty move off the glass, and that goes.
We like to see both teams starting off dumping the ball down low, hoping to get a foul or easy 2.
That was Jose Vargas getting the first 2 points for Venezuela. Now a 3-point attempt on the way. That's good. Yuan Haiti gives Cuba.
Big man stepping outside. Now the defense is going to have to step outside, also opening up some driving lanes.
Gregory Vargas. Some traffic on the right side. Skip pass across. Can't quite get it corralled as Nestor Colmenares, but a foul called.
A lot of defensive intensity to start.
Mishandled pass and then the foul by Rivero. First one on Rivero. He's an incredible athlete. Oh, pretty spin move. Shot won't go off the glass by Jose Vargas.
That's okay. Once again, they go down low to get a clear look. That didn't drop, but they still had the right mentality. Establish position down low. Hope you get a foul or an easy bucket. And you want to attack the heart of the defense early on.
Three to 2 Cuba, early going. Rivero just picked up his second foul.
Once again, they go to the block.
Jose Vargas kicks it out. Now the pretty drive, blocked inside by Haiti. That was a nice move by Colmenares, but he got it swatted. And now the first substitution for Cuba as Orestes Torres comes on to replace Rivero, who has picked up a couple of quick fouls.
Well, Haiti hit a three-point shot, the possession before. Now he's playing off Miguel and really helping out in the defensive in the key. There you go.
Arriaga misses with the left hand, and the rebound ripped out of there by Oliva. Cuba looking to extend its 1-point lead. And a foul called on Gregory Vargas for Venezuela. You get a look at Osmel Oliva. Oliva thought about the three there. Gets it back to Molina, now to Torres. Baseline right side, step back, left-hand jumper. That hits off the side of the backboard. And it goes out of bounds to Venezuela. After the first basket by each team, we haven't had a lot of scoring action. Both teams still trying to feel each other out.
And that can happen in the first game, right, Greg?
Oh, absolutely. Now Colmenares on the drive. Torres on the defense, but he's going to draw the foul. That'll be his first.
That's it. That's the philosophy. Early on, you want to establish that you want to get either yourself down the block or drive down the lane so you can get some fouls. And that way you're shooting free throws and you're getting your defensive set right away.
And the free throw by Colmenares is good. Colmenares, he's got a birthday coming up in just a few days, so we'll see if his teammates can give him an early birthday gift with a victory over Cuba. Gets both free throws, and Venezuela now with the lead 4-3.
See, that happened right there. Haiti had a three-pointer early on. Now, defense had to step out and then open the driving lane for him, and he got fouled with the reach-in.
Foul is going to be on Mariaga, his first. Oliva. Around the screen by Haiti, pulls up over the outstretched arms of Mariaga, could not hit. That was a tough jump shot as the defense closed, and ball skitters out of bounds to Cuba.
Well, you saw Haiti being aggressive on the glass, and sometimes when you can't go up and grab the rebound, you want to tip it back to a teammate. That time it went out of bounds, but he had the right mindset.
Cuba has not scored since that three-pointer at the 9-10 mark, 50 seconds into the game. So the pass inside to Mariaga gets deflected out of bounds, and it will remain with Venezuela with 8 to shoot. Gregory Vargas to inbound. Shot clock at 5. Jumper from the left elbow is no good by Cox. Torres with the rebound. He says, all right, I'll bring it up. I'll play point center. Now he finally hands it off to Molina. I have to say, Torres did not look comfortable bringing the ball up the court there.
Yeah, he was looking for his point guard all the time.
Now Oliva in the corner, he drives. And to travel, yeah, he lost his footing there. He's going to say he was bumped by Gregory Vargas, but I think he just lost his footing and then went into the defender, and a good call by our officiating group. Once again, Ronaldo Mercedes, Guillermo Locatelli, and Alejandro Sanchez. Partner, we were up in Edmonton a couple of weeks ago for the FIBA Women's Tournament. You weren't on air as the three-pointer is no good. You weren't on air for that one. I was for all of the games, and the officiating in Edmonton was just outstanding. For a 2-week tournament, probably the best I've seen. Torres loses it on the way through and now deflected out of bounds. And once again, we have the best officials in North and South America working these games here this week and next week, for that matter. So.
That's right. FIBA and FIBA Americas, they have a referee program, and Geraldo Fontana is in charge of that, where they have clinics and all the tournaments around the continent. And what you want to see is exactly that. When the tournament's done, nobody is talking about the referee, nobody's arguing the call. So the players are playing, the coaches are coaching, and the referees are doing their job. And we hope that that's going to be the same case here.
Cuba in for Venezuela, and the shot blocked, but a foul underneath. The foul on the previous play was on Haiti, and now this one on Granda.
Well, Cuba's been playing good defense, but that time they didn't. It was an out-of-bounds play in which with one pass they were able to dump the ball down low, and with a girl band move, he got fouled, but you expect the ball not going down the block on an out-of-bounds play.
That was just a lightning quick spin move and drop step by Jose Vargas. First free throw is good, the second one up, and swiped off the rim by Haiti.
Remembering those that there's a difference between the NBA rule and the FIBA rules, which once the ball touches the rim, you're able to clear it, swipe it out for the rebound.
Now at the other end, nice transition bucket by Vargas, and Venezuela has opened up a 7-3 lead. Venezuela starting to look a little bit comfortable on offense. Cuba still has not found any rhythm. Now Venezuela, again after the deflected ball, and Cuba wants timeout. They trail 9-3.
And this is where you see the Venezuela philosophy started to build in. A couple of possessions ago, they denied the point guard, and the Cuba big man had to bring the ball down the court. This time they trapped on the sideline. They're able to get a deflection, and then an easy bucket after that.
There you see the nice save. So listen into the Venezuelan huddle. They've got to be pleased with the start to this one. Cuba, on the other hand.
Uso el péndulo acá, a ver si vamos a atrapar. Your guy, let him receive the ball. Let him receive the ball. Let him receive the ball here, in this area. When they receive the ball, we put press, because maybe Nestor is shown to trap. Estamos, y acá.
¿Cómo van a sacar y tú vas a estar ahí entretenido ahí? ¿A botar ahí así?
Welcome back to the Palacio de los Deportes in Mexico City. Venezuela with an early 9-3 lead over Cuba. Cuba takes its first time out. They have not been able to find anything offensively and get denied there.
We also got to give some credit to the Venezuela defense, and they just spoke about that on the timeout. They want to keep that intensity, denying the ball on the guards, making their big men uncomfortable, and having traps on the corners. Coach Nestor has been with them since 2013, so you start to pick up on the details that you think the program has been working on for the past couple of years.
Not sure what that whistle was about, but Venezuela retained possession with 14 on the shot clock. They move inside a little too strong, though, by Graterol, and here comes Cuba. Torres. Nice find inside to Haiti.
The ball slipped a little bit. He wasn't able to go at first. He had to do a reverse. Got a foul off of it, but you want the bunny to go in.
The foul is on John Cox. His first.
Now on the other side, Venezuela was playing a full court defense, but they allowed the trailer to go all the way down the heart of the defense and get the pass. The number one thing on defense, you want to stop the ball and make sure everybody has somebody to be guarded.
Oliva sits down for Cuba. And Cuba continuing to struggle to find points. Second free throw is up and in, and Cuba gets its first bucket since the 9-10 mark of this quarter. Almost 5 full minutes without a point.
Venezuela with the flex offense, screen on the baseline, then the pin down.
Lewis to Gratterall for 3, misses everything.
Oh, but that's okay. You live with that. That was a wide open shot.
Yeah.
Even though it was an air ball, they ran their set and they got a clear look. You just hope the result is different next time. There's that trap again. They trapped the point guard. He had to force a pass into the corner and the turnover.
So Nestor Garcia, and whatever he's drawn up defensively, really seems to be working so far.
There you have Coach Flor Melendez from Puerto Rico, but he has coached all around the Americas and the South America. Very well-known coach. A personality around here. Is good to see him courtside. That's a great basketball mind, Coach Flor Melendez.
Venezuela looking to extend its 5-point lead. Ruiz heading to Cubilon. He drives, goes all the way underneath. Now back out. 5 to shoot. Pass inside. Nice behind the back pass. But again, Ruiz unable to finish. And now Venezuela gets it back.
Yeah, there should not have been a reset. The ball never touched the rim.
Right.
They went back to 14, but it was an air ball on the layup and a block after. So they reviewed this. A lot of dribbling last possession for Venezuela.
And that will drive some coaches up a wall. As you see our officiating crew talking it over. Ronaldo Mercedes, Guillermo Locatelli, and Alejandro Sanchez.
They're going back to the monitor here, exactly to look for that if the ball touched or did not touch the rim. Remembering, as of last year, the rule changed.
Right.
If you had an offensive rebound, you'd reset to 24. Now is a whole new dynamic because it's 14 seconds only to attack.
Yeah, you have time to run maybe one offensive set, and if it's not there, you have the individual matchup that you have to go to. I like that rule. I like the change.
Yes, me too.
We saw the women struggle with it in Edmonton a little bit. They seem to forget.
That's right.
We saw a lot of shot clock violations after a ball off of the rim.
That's right. It's an adaptation. We have been taught, as you can see, a nice behind the back pass, but it goes all the way over. It does not touch the rim.
It does not look like it touched the rim.
And then on the follow, there's a block, so
yeah.
See what the referees call here, but
should not have been a
that
reset.
should be a 24-second violation. Yes, going back to that 14 seconds, you're right. It's an adaptation. I think coaches have to be aware of that. Once you get the offensive rebound, you want to go into a quick hitter, or you want to spread your offense, or you're going to go to a mismatch, but you don't have the time as we used to have, or the ball goes back, you run your set again, because 14 seconds they go by. By the time you get the ball to your point guard, you're probably up down at 9 or 8 seconds.
Now, as somebody who has worked in the NBA, what do you think the prospects are of the NBA going to that rule?
Well, we see more and more the FIBA and the NBA rules kind of emerge. I think that's a progression of the game. Soon enough, there is already the 14-second rule. As, for example, if you get fouled within less than 14 seconds, the reset of the shot clock is 14 and not 24. So I think eventually, yes, we'll probably get there.
Well, they gave the ball to Cuba, and they promptly threw it away. Shot inside by Yent, no good, and now a 3 on the way. That's off. Rebound to Haiti.
And just going back to the replay for a second, because starting back at the Pan American Games, that was the first tournament FIBA would actually use the replay. So we had it in the Pan American Games, we had it in the Edmonton and the Women's Olympic Qualifier, the FIBA Americas Women, and now we have it here for the first time in the FIBA Americas Men, the replay, the officials replay.
And now a foul called, and they're going to count the basket. Boy, I thought there might have been a chance that could have been an offensive foul. You saw the forearm get extended on the drive by Cuba. There you get a look at it. You saw him push off with that left hand, but they're going to give the foul to Granda.
Yeah, maybe they interpreted he got to the spot a little bit before the defender, but you're absolutely right. It could have gone the other way.
It might have been one of those where a no call would have been in order, but.
And Venezuela now starting to build a little lead. Cuba kind of stuck at the 4 points.
Cuba unable to complete the three-point play. It's 11-4 with 2:50 to play in the first quarter. Heidi working his way into the paint, and now a foul called.
That's it. When things are not going well for you, you get the ball down the block, you suck in the defense. If there's help, you kick it back out. If not, you get fouled and go shoot yourself some free throws.
Foul's going to be on Windy Gratterall, his first. Cuba already a couple of players with 2 fouls, Granda and Rivero. Nobody on Venezuela with more than 1. Jose Vargas leading all scorers with 7 points. IT has all 4 points for Cuba.
Well, Cuba yet to make a 2-point bucket. They got a few freebies and a 3-pointer. But again, when things are not going well for you, you go down that block, you establish position, and you shoot the ball close or you get fouled.
Second free throw good, 11-5. Guillet. Over the top, working on Valdez. Pretty reverse layup, and that's good. Nice move by Heisler Guillet.
They spread the court, they played a high pick and roll, defense couldn't keep up with the pick, and they got into the lane with the wide open layup.
And Cuba throws it away, and so it'll be Venezuela ball with 2:15 to play. Here's a look at the drive and the bucket, pretty reverse with the right hand by Heisler Guillet.
With a nice English off the glass.
Yeah. Guillet on the drive again, and another foul called inside.
Well, it worked for you once. You might as well go back to it. This time he didn't get the bucket, but he can get the 2 points at the line.
That's going to be on Lisvan Valdez.
And Cuba's going to have to adjust for that.
Nothing going very well for Cuba in the early going. Free throw good.
Look to see if Venezuela, they do their defensive strategy, either trapping or denying the point guards. It's been working for them here this first quarter. See if they go back to it.
Both free throws good, and it's a 10-point lead.
And they do. You see the 4-man kind of leave their man behind and trapping the point guard so they can get the point guard's ball out of his hands.
IT with the left hand, that won't go, but an offensive foul called.
That's Cuba's 7th turnover in the quarter.
Eighth overall foul as well. Of course, that's offensive, so it's non-shooting. Guillet. Gives it off to Lewis. Now back to Cuba.
Horns up top. Nice little hook pass.
Yeah,
but
tried to feed it into the paint to Gratterall, but the Cuban defense was there after Gratterall couldn't handle the pass. Not much there for Cuba, so Justiz takes the jumper from inside the left elbow and can't connect. And there's nothing going right for Cuba thus far. Defensively, they're not too bad, only giving up 15 points so far.
Yeah, Cuba right now having a problem with the pick and roll defense. I'm not too sure if they're trying to that number 6 hitting their step to stop the ball, neither stay with his man. He got caught in between, and that created some defensive problems. A good foul in the end, making him early at the line, but they have to adjust to the pick and roll defense.
Free throw a little too strong off the back iron, so it remains a 10-point lead. 1:02 to play first quarter. Ruiz, just the second one to go, and it's 16-5. Cuba had the lead at 3-2, and since then, it's been all Venezuela, a 14-2 run since Cuba hit that three-pointer. Now Justiz off the glass, and finally Cuba gets a 2-point basket.
Yeah, that's a big fella. He went down to the block, established position, went to a little turnaround off the glass. Can't go wrong with that one.
And a turnover by Venezuela, so it'll be Cuba ball. 30 seconds to play now in this first quarter. Rodriguez on the right wing, feeding it down low to Haiti. He turns and shoots. No good. Rebound to Guillant. Now a three-pointer on the way by Vargas. That's off. Fighting for the rebound. Back inside. Nicely done. Vargas with just a couple of seconds left in the quarter. And Venezuela, after missing the three-point shot, is able to find the ball and find the basket. Nice effort by Ruiz there. And Venezuela takes an 18-7 lead at the end of the first quarter. This is first round play at the FIBA Americas 2015 Championship Tournament.
Lo defiende un poquito duro y todo el mundo está echando culo para atrás. Hay que salir a defender y agresivo ahí, igual agresivo. Se dan la pelota y todo el mundo resuelve tirando.
Es que la defensa no ha sido mala. El tema es que la ofensiva ya. No hacemos nada. Aquí no hacemos nada.
Allá, todo el mundo la puede. Mira, si hay un pivo arriba, hay un pivo arriba en la pantalla. Esto aquí no lo han hecho. Igual lo defienden un poquito presionado y todo el mundo quiere resolver la tirando. Hay que jugar con más.
Le pongo porque el rojo están todos ayudando acá, pero lo tengo que aguantar porque si no el rojo no me sirve. O sea, les meto esto acá, lo aguanto con rojo. Abro la cancha, en la carrera la empujo y hago el lead, repeat y le juego. Meto y me quedo. Vamos, dale, vamos, vamos. Tenemos la pelota, vamos a ir, dale.
Welcome back to the Palacio de los Deportes in Mexico City. Venezuela leading Cuba 18-7 after one quarter. Outside jumper no good.
See how Cuba adjusts here in the second quarter. They've been speaking about keeping their man in front of them, not letting them get easy buckets. And on the offensive end, trying to get a little bit more movement, because not only you want to dump the ball down low, but you also want to try to get some movement before, so the defense is not established. Because what happened was the Venezuela coach during the timeout, he said, let's stand our man on the one-to-one defense down the block. So if you're Cuba, you want to get a little bit more movement, and when you're down to 10 seconds or less, then feed the ball down low for that bucket that just happened.
Justice with the pretty turnaround shot in the lane after the foul.
Well, we did like to see those both teams substituting a lot. We had Venezuela had 12 players go in, and Cuba had 11 players go in. And because the tournament is so long, because the tournament is so intense, substitutions will come into play down the road.
Sometimes it's not necessarily the best team, but it's the healthiest team at the end of a long tournament. 18-9, Venezuela, second quarter action. Valdez. Inside to Justice again, that will go. Lewis had the rebound. Arriaga had it, and then it was knocked out of bounds by Martinez. Did they call Martinez for the foul? They did.
Too much hustle.
So that's 2 on Martinez. So Cuba with 4 players already with 2 fouls.
Once again, the flex movement, back screen. They're going to go the pick and roll here.
Yeah. Nicely defended by Cuba. Didn't allow the passing lane. Now Mariaga working his way in. Can't get that to go.
Once again, that didn't go in, but that's a half-court set that they ran to almost perfection. They got a good shot off, so that's how you want to be playing.
Shot is blocked. Oh, and nice transition bucket by Cesar Garcia. Cuba was trying to foul, but they got the ball away, did Venezuela, and got an easy bucket at the other end. It's 20-9.
But if you're the Cuba coach, you're not really happy with that effort. You had one man go back. So it was 1 versus 3. It's the second quarter of the first game. You got to have everybody going back.
I think everybody was expecting the whistle. And now a foul called as IT down low gets fouled from behind by Miguel Arriaga. Martinez sitting down. Granda coming back on for Cuba, and it's going to be a difficult chess match for Daniel Bryce for Cuba with the fouls early on in this one. He's going to have to manage his substitutions very carefully. Venezuela with the steal off of the inbound pass, and there's a foul by Oliva. That's going to be his first.
Wrap around. You see that a lot now in the games. So we have a fast break, so defensive team try to stop the fast break and put the ball on the sideline. You just have to be careful because he almost wrapped him around by the shoulder, almost got his neck, and then that would be more than a regular foul.
Yeah. Vargas between the rings, right side to Garcia.
We've seen this set pin down with the back screen, coming to a pick and roll right here.
Nicely defended that time by Cuba. Outside shot by Lewis, 3, bang! Dwight Lewis hits from outside, and he gives Venezuela its biggest lead of the game, 23-9.
We want to give the coach and the players some credit. They ran their set, and they got a wide open corner 3.
Shot by Justice, a little too strong, and Venezuela back the other way. Vargas. Now the handoff to Lewis. He attacks, kicks it baseline. Mariaga, his shot a little short. Oliva the rebound. Now Oliva trying to push. He pulls up from the right elbow. Short. Gregory Vargas the rebound. He could have taken that, I think, but he opted for the cross-court three-point look to Garcia. That was no good, but Garcia gets his own long rebound.
If you're Cuba, you want to stick with the basics. Half-court offense and good half-court defense.
Now another foul called on Asmel Oliva. That's his second. So that's 2 on Oliva, 2 on Granda, 2 on Haiti, 2 on Martinez, and 2 on Rivero. The only player with 2 fouls for Venezuela is Mariaga. Vargas to inbound, gets it to Javier Vargas. Now back to Gregory. 5 to shoot, driving on Oliva, Gets past him, the floater won't go, but the rebound, nicely done by Windy Gratterall.
Attack the basket. Big man had to come to help out. He left the offensive big man for a rebound and a putback. So good things happen to you when you attack the basket.
Now Ruiz whistled for the foul. That's the first on Ruiz. Now Torres back on for Cuba as Haiti sits down. Haiti with 5 points, Justiz with 4. Those are the only 2 players that have scored for Cuba.
We said that if Cuba, they want to establish a down-low game, but as a matter of fact, that's the only thing they have going for them so far.
Ronda for 3. That rattles out. Rebound Ruiz. And a nice take by Vargas. That's up and in.
They got to adjust to the pick-and-roll defense. They did not trap, neither go under, neither show. You have got to play good pick-and-roll defense at this level.
Most basic play in basketball, but it's so hard to defend. That's why, even at this level, teams can still run it. Pretty move now that time by Granda. And Cuba finally into double figures. Garcia for 3, short. Rebound Granda. Boy, I don't understand taking that foul right there. You had defenders back.
I agree with you, partner. He had three man back, so there was no need to give a foul. Now they're up to 14 fouls.
Venezuela up 27-11. There you see the good decision and the take by Vargas. Ooh, that almost looked like it was touched there by Ruiz. Cubans didn't ask to have it looked at, though.
Remembering, though, in the FIBA game, there is no offensive goaltending. On the NBA, yes, on the cylinder up, you cannot touch it once it touches the rim. In the FIBA game, just like on the defense, once it touches the rim, you're allowed to tap it back in.
Well, he should have just dunked it then for effect. Cuba loses control of it as 2 of their own players battle for a rebound. Now the 3, that rolls off. Torres the rebound. Rodriguez gets it across to Torres. He attacks. Gets it back off the glass and in. Strong take by Orestes Torres. And he'll go to the free throw line. The foul is on Miguel Ruiz. And that is his second. Contact on the initial drive you saw there. He got it back.
The whistle didn't come the first time. You stick with the play. Got an offensive rebound. Went up strong with the contact. See if you can complete the three-point play.
Torres does indeed, and it's 27-14 now. 4.5 minutes to play second quarter. Cuba finally looking like it's getting a little bit more comfortable offensively.
It's a 13-point game. If they can bring this down a little bit closer before halftime, they're still in it.
Oh, 13 points at this stage of the game is – there's a lifetime of basketball left in this one. Now the pretty move by Gratterall, but then the behind-the-back pass stuffed, and now a fast break opportunity. And Rodriguez able to convert. And it's down to an 11-point lead now for Venezuela, 27-16. Gratterall over to Cubalon, back now to Gregory Vargas.
Pick and roll defense, let's see. He had the show. Nice court card pass. Got called for the traveling. Left his foot early before he took the dribble.
It's just amazing that even the best basketball players in the world even just shuffle the feet once in a while, misstep. They work on that stuff all the time.
Sometimes you're thinking ahead. He's already thinking that he's going to blow by his man and thinking what he's going to find once he gets to the key. And these guys are so explosive. that fundamental dribbling it before you take your pivot foot sometimes can go wrong.
Rodriguez around the screen by Torres. Shoots it up over Colmenares, but the defense was just too tall. And now Colmenares. Good defense by Cuba getting back on the break, but
you see the Venezuela trap. It's kind of like a three-quarter trap going into a half court.
Torres has his shot blocked by Colmenares, but the whistle comes in and a foul call.
Defensive man closed the middle drive, so he went baseline with the spin. Went with the left hand, kind of confused the defense a little bit, and got hacked.
Second foul on Colmenares. First free throw up and good by Torres. Plays for Capitalinos in Cuba. Second free throw bounces off, and here comes Venezuela.
Number 15 mistimed the offensive rebound, or else he would have a good chance of bringing this to a 10-point game.
Pass to the block. Spin move by Vargas and a whistle.
But see, you saw that in the beginning of the game. Both teams actually trying to establish a position down low, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, but good things happen when you go down the block. The defense has to help, and if they don't help, you have a one-on-one or with a move or two, a shake here and there, you can go to the basket. That's exactly what happened. That's the third time he goes baseline. That's the third time he gets fouled.
Especially if you have a mismatch down there. You want to exploit that every time. Free throw up and good. Venezuela has reached 30 points to 17 for Cuba. Second free throw too strong, but a nice rebound in there by Javier Vargas. He goes back over the left hand and lays it in.
That's
and
what you
just
want.
like that, it's a 15-point lead again, Venezuela.
Stick with the play.
We talked about it a moment ago. Cuba had a chance to cut it to 10. Now it's back to 15. Molina working on Vargas. Out to Oliva, but the pass stolen. And then a beautiful lead pass to Colmenares, and he lays it up and in over Molina. And Cuba is going to take timeout again. Venezuela on a quick run here. Back up to a 17-point lead. Cuba takes its second and final timeout of the first half. And we will be back from Mexico City.
Ellos están cambiando en todas las pantallas.
Oye, se queda el grande con el chiquito y ustedes no lo ven. Con una presión jugando, ustedes creen. Parece que ustedes es debut. Primera vez que ustedes juegan un partido internacional. Es primera vez. Y todos los partidos previos que habían antes, ¿dónde están? No sé hacer nada y pierde la pelota. Y pierde la pelota y pierde el balón. Cuando hay que mover más la pelota, es otro equipo. Es otro equipo. Ese equipo es una basura.
Mira, están cantando 5, los dos puestos están aquí abajo. Si pasa,
Ese switch y te quedás. Y de pase múltiple. Y allá. Escuchá. Allá. Izquierda 3. Left 3.
Welcome back
Se
to
corta.
Mexico
Se
City.
botea.
Preliminary
Este lado
round play
atacante.
in the 2015 FIBA Americas Championship tournament, and Cuba had a chance to cut it to 10. All of a sudden, it's down 17. What did you hear during those timeout huddles?
Well, Cuba trying to explain that even though with the Venezuela pressure on the defense, they still have to run their sets. So even though you're not comfortable getting the ball in the spots where you are more used to, You have got to push off. You have got to establish position so you can get good shot off. So Cuba really trying to establish that. Let's not give in to the Venezuela defensive pressure.
Rivero misses the three, but a foul underneath the basket on Justiz. His first.
You don't mind the hustle,
yeah, the
but you don't want the push in the back.
So Venezuela in the bonus now.
Javier Justiz, number 6, interesting player, just 22 years old at 2 meters 10, so 7 feet tall. Interesting kid at the age of 22. You like to see the heart. You like him to try to establish the fight down low, but he got caught with the push.
After one game on that Chinese tour, in which we saw the Cuban national team against an American minor league pro team, the Cuban coaching staff was not pleased with a couple of Cuban players' efforts, and Justiz was one of them, and they were running laps around the court after the game.
Well, you got to send a message somehow. And as a coach, the number one thing you want to do is make sure you play hard. Everything will fall into place, your system, the philosophy, if you play hard.
Now that foul against Tavinger Vargas for Venezuela, he's got 2.
And that's what happened right there. They followed the shot. They got an offensive rebound. Got rewarded for it. Got to knock down the free throws, but they played hard. They had faith on the rebound. So you play it until the end.
First free throw by Guzman, no good. Second one up. That one spins in.
Cuba picking up full court this time. That's what you want to see. Defense, you want to scramble a little bit. You want to make sure the offense is not comfortable. So get the ball to the point guard's hand. Make sure that you have traps. Make sure that the offensive team is not set to what they would like to be.
Oh, pretty pass and an open three-point look by Guillant, but that was no good. But again, as you've said a couple of times, Venezuela missing the open look, but they'll take it every time. And now a strong foul that time.
And then for that, you want to take off your hat to Coach Nestor. He's been with the program for 2-3 years, and you can kind of see the philosophy. Years ago, Venezuela, they would probably be rushing a few more shots. This time they're coming down the court. They're playing their half-court game. They're establishing their priorities.
Saw the foul there by Jose Vargas. He blocked the shot and committed the foul, and then went over and slapped hands with Rivero. Good sportsmanship there. Didn't mean anything by the hard foul. Just
part of the game.
Yeah, part of the game, and he understood.
Horn set. They go into a flex baseline screen with the pin down.
Partner, you mentioned the horn set. Why don't you kind of explain that for our viewers?
That's when you have the 2 big men, they're 4 to 5, come up about the free throw line, kind of like a old UCLA set that John Uden used to run. You have your big men come up, because by doing that, the big defenders also have to follow, and you're opening down some positioning on the baseline. And very traditionally, you have the horn set, the 2 big men come in, but you also have the flex offense, in which once the ball goes into your big, you have some action on the baseline with your shooters coming up, receiving screens, hopefully for a wide open shot.
Foul on Venezuela against David Cubilon. His first, and finally the free throw by Oliva. Plinko's in.
Little drop's okay as long as it goes in.
Yeah.
You like to see your point guard with 4 rebounds. Your big men are doing the job. They're boxing out. Sometimes your guards are the ones that have to go in there and do the dirty work.
You mentioned the Plinko reference on the free throw. Do you get the prices right in Venezuela or in Brazil? Pretty drive and reverse layup is good by Cubilon.
Venezuela is executing. The ball was on the right side of the court. They had a flex screen, which is a screen where the players is running almost backwards. You got a wide open pass, was able to drive down the lane to finish.
Now the good defense that time by Cuba forces the turnover by Oliva. And bit of a clock malfunction. It's reading 23:45 left. I don't think that's quite right. We were inside of
23 seconds. And
so they put the hundredths on there. I had not seen that before. 23.45 seconds. We were inside of 30.
And now the shot clock is off because less than 24 seconds to shoot.
Yep. So Venezuela gonna play for one.
They spread the court. They'll probably go to the pick and roll. Let's see. Three-man weave up top just to get the defense to scrambling. They go to the pick and roll. Cuba trap, but that left a wide open jumper.
That's good. Javier Vargas with the three-pointer gives Venezuela an 18-point lead heading into halftime, 39-21. The 24-second offense executed to perfection. And Venezuela really handcuffing Cuba offensively. Give it to head coach Nestor Garcia for Venezuela. They really have made things difficult for the Cuban offense as we head to halftime. Venezuela 39, Cuba 21. Look at the halftime stats. Cuba shooting just 21% from the floor, 5 of 23, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc. Venezuela, a nice robust 50% from the floor, 13 of 26, just 2 of 10 from three-point range. Both teams in the mid 50% range from the free throw line. 21 rebounds for Cuba, 27 for Venezuela. 13 turnovers for Cuba in that first half, and that's something that they are going to have to change up. You look at points in the paint, and that's the difference for me in this one. 26 points in the paint for Venezuela, just 10 for Cuba, and the bench outscoring Cuba 23-11.
Well, Cuba is shooting a low percentage right now, and there's two things for that. First, you want to give credit to the Venezuela defense. They've been starting to pick them up full court, three-quarters court, as well as half court. Once the ball is getting down the block, they're either helping or trapping and making life hard for Cuba. So you want to give credit to Venezuela defense. On the other hand, Cuba, you like to get them a little bit more movement. They've been able to get the ball down the block, but without a side screen or a baseline screen, and able to get their offense position a little bit closer down the block. So hopefully Cuba will make those adjustments at halftime so they can come in, get a few more buckets in the second half, try to bring this game a little bit closer, and shoot a higher percentage.
Let's take a look at the individual leaders for Venezuela. Javier Vargas with 7.
On the Venezuela side,
Jay Vargas, I think your pardon. Jay Vargas. So Javier Vargas has 7. Jay Vargas has 8 for Venezuela. Almenarez with 6. Kiet with 4. Cubalon with 2. Under for Venezuela. Javier Vargas with 4. And assists for Kiet with 4. Cuba. Saiti with 5. Ortiz and Torres with 4. Torres and no player has more than effectiveness of the Cuban offense. No player has more than 1 assist.
but I was very pleased with the Venezuela. They were able to come out with a established on the defensive and on the offensive side. On the offensive side, they have 9 assists and only 7 turnovers. 6 points in the paint, but they're running their set. They're getting good looks. They're able to move the ball, move by space out the court, and especially attacking Cuba on the pick and roll offense, in which Cuba is still yet to make adjustments.
There you got to look at some of the highlights which made Venezuela so successful in that first half. We are back with second half action from the Palacio de los Deportes in Mexico City. Greg Feda, Victor Mansour, we're back in just a moment.
Hey.
Welcome back to Mexico City, the Palacio de los Deportes in Mexico City. First game of the 2015 FIBA Americas Championship Tournament. Venezuela leading Cuba 31-29 coming out of halftime. Craig Fada, Victor Mansour on the call. And Victor, what does Cuba have to do to try to find an offense here in the second half?
Well, if you're the Cuba squad, you want to stick to the basics. That means starting off with the defensive side, you cannot allow the ball to get to the key as they did. They had 26 points in the paint against on drives, down the block, spin moves, and as well as offensive rebounds. So you want to stop that. You want to make sure that you take care of your own key. Starting out with that. Now, when they transitioned to the offensive side, they were able to play a half-court game, but they got to get a little bit more movement. They haven't been able to shoot threes because they're not coming off screens. They're not having enough movement to get open and take those shots.
Well, maybe a change of ends for Cuba will help.
There you go.
Nice look inside, and Cuba's got the first bucket of the second half.
They went to the pick and roll, dumped the ball down low. Big fella with the nice view, saw the cutter, dumped it inside, and he got the easy deuce. This time, pick and roll defense went over the screen.
A little bit of a change for Venezuela coming out of halftime. Graterol on for Colmenares.
As a coach, sometimes you don't mind your big man stepping outside taking that shot because he wants the defense to respect the shooter to open up some driving lanes.
Same starting five for Cuba in this second half as they had in the first. So Cuba's just got to remain patient. They've got to work their offense and just slowly reel Venezuela back in. It's a small enough deficit, even though 16 points is fairly healthy, but there's enough time that 16 points, if you just work your plan.
And they got to play off Haiti. It's the second time he gets the ball in the second half, and good things came out of it. Once a bucket, now foul, so they got to get the ball to him and kind of like play a point forward.
Strong drive by Rivero, but it would not fall. And now at the
Nice
other
give and
end, a
go.
block as Cubalon soars to the bucket.
For the young ones out there wanting the fast break, you want to give it up so you can get it back afterwards, and exactly what happened.
That foul is going to be on Osmel Oliva. That's his third.
Referee said the ball was okay, but it got some contact in the head.
Free throw by Cubalon rattles around, it falls in. 40-23 in favor of Venezuela. 5 points for Cubalon. He's going to try to make it 6 right here. That one skips off the left side. And Oliva staying in the game with 3 fouls. Molina up top to Haiti. Now Oliva on the drive, pulls up.
Good help defense.
Rebound inside by Rivero. That won't go. Now ball tapped around and finally saved along the sideline nicely by Granda.
Referee say Venezuela had possession. That's why, nope, they just reset it to 14.
Oliva around the screen. Now the step back, has to give it up. IT with the nice step inside, but he can't get the shot off in time, and it's a shot clock violation.
That's what we spoke about at the beginning of the game. On the offensive rebound, you have 14 seconds now. You don't have 24, so you want to go quick to your sets. They didn't do that. They got a little bit confused, went to a step back, and there was a shot clock violation.
Going to the corner, the drive by Cox.
Nice strong move.
Yeah. And then he and Rivero exchange a couple of pleasant shoves. I think that was a little bit of frustration by Rivero. Oh, and almost a steal by Cox that time. Now the pull-up. That's good.
If you're Cuba, you can see the difference now. They kind of run in their sets, and they're getting clear looks. They have to keep on getting better as this tournament goes along.
Three-point attempt by Graterol is off. Cuba trying to fight their way back into this one. Trailing by 17. Oliva, left wing. Calling for some help. Now looks like it's just going to be an ISO. Oliva for 3. That's no good. Rebound inside. Nicely done by Graterol. Now Cubalon Has his pocket picked by Oliva, and that's a risky play with 3 fouls right there. Rivero at the other end goes up, scores, and draws the foul. He's going to go to the free throw line to try to complete the 3-point play.
Defensively, you don't want to give an and one. If you're going to commit a foul, you're going to commit a hard foul. Make the person earn the 2 points at the line and not give them the opportunity like what happened here. Just undercut him a little bit, a touch foul, count at the basket, and it can come up to a 3-point play.
See some of your native countrymen.
Mr. Marquinhos and Mr. Olivinha. On a side note, played with Mr. Olivinha for many years. We're the same age, so we grew up playing together. So it's good to see him out here performing.
Brazil getting set for the next game coming up against Uruguay. That takes place at 2:30 local time. So the 3-point play is completed. And it's a 42-28 lead. Now the nice jumper that time by John Cox.
He was able to get himself free because he kind of crossed over between the legs going back. Created some space just enough to pull up for a 2. It's always hard to find a space at the 2-pointers, a zone, because defense is able to contest, but he got some room and knocked down the wide open shot.
Molina pulls up from 15. The left wing, that's no good. Rebound Ruiz. Talked about it before on the air with this FIBA 3-point line. Ruiz with a pretty move, that won't go. That if you can become very proficient at the mid-range jumper with the short 3-point line, everybody wants to go out and shoot that short 3. If you can master that 10 to 12 to 15-foot jumper, you are really going to score a lot of points. And in the international basketball that I've seen, the guys who can score in that range really rack up the points.
You're absolutely right, because sometimes it's not so easy to get a shot off, because that's a position on the court where defense is playing up on you. So we kind of call it like the art of the 2-pointers, in where you're able to create your shot inside the 2-pointer is not so easy sometimes. So hats off to for those who are able to rack up the points and then, in consequence, open up the 3-pointers.
Oliva, the drive won't go. Now Venezuela, nice outlet and easy transition basket by Cox. Boy, that was a pretty outlet pass.
Got the rebound, saw the man running, give it up to him. That's the easiest way to score in basketball, is run the court and get yourself a wide open layup.
46-28, back to an 18-point lead. And boy, Cuba has missed from inside so many times. That time Rivero on the follow-up of the initial shot. And now another easy bucket for Venezuela at the other end.
Cuba started off this third quarter really well. They kind of looked like they had adjusted their game. Now within a few possessions, they're going to some bad habits.
Well, Cuba's got to get some stops. They can't just trade baskets with Venezuela the rest of the way out, trailing by 18 points. Now Oliva on the layup attempt hits the side of the backboard, and here comes Venezuela running again. Nice feed to Ruiz and the layup. That was a pretty pass from Heisler-Guillant to Ruiz.
Yeah, you got to talk some things over here.
And the lead is 20 at 50-30, and Daniel Bryce wants timeout.
They went too quick for the shot. And that translated to a rebound on transition. So you want to slow the game down.
Let's listen into the huddles.
Caminando, ve un contraataque, y Miguel va caminando también. Hay que correr duro para atrás. ¿El balance dónde está? ¿Dónde está el balance? ¿No hay balance? Todo el mundo parado entre sí. Cantan una jugada, todo el mundo parado ahí mirando cómo están. Ahora ninguno sale. Ninguno. Vamos.
Fue lo que pactamos.
And now the huddle for Venezuela.
Contener. Cada vez que contengo y protejo la pintura, tomamos el rebote y corremos. Contengan, dale.
Well,
back in Mexico City, it's a 20-point lead for Venezuela here in the third quarter, 4:30 to play. And Cuba came out at the start of the third quarter, Victor, and looked like they might have a little something going, and then Venezuela really just said, well, I think we're going to start executing as well.
Yeah, Cuba started to go. They started off with involving all their players that had the 5-man touch the ball. They're going through their sets. And now the last few possessions, they didn't go to that. As a matter of fact, they went completely away. They went to one-on-one plays, quick shots, and that translated to fast bucket. On the timeout, though, the Cuba coach made sure to say, get back on defense. We need defensive transition. We cannot allow easy buckets.
Venezuela foul on Dwight Lewis. 4th team foul. Cuba to inbound. Rodriguez on the right wing. Martinez. Oh, it's tipped out of bounds.
One of the toughest things as a coach is to get synchronization between your players. That time, as one of the Cuba players are coming off a zipper cut, trying to get the ball on the top of the key, the other players are also cutting, so they have to be synchronized.
Cuba with 1 to shoot. Throw the alley-oop in, but it's defended nicely by Lewis. Now Cox. His long 2-pointer won't go, and now Cuba with a chance to run. 3-on-2, and the foul committed there by Ruiz. And that'll be 3 on Ruiz. So Lisbon Valdez will go to the free throw line. Cox sits down, Garcia comes on. Ruiz sits down with those 3 fouls. And Javier Vargas comes on. Free throw by Valdez is good. Cuba gets it back inside 20.
Well, if you're Cuba right now, you don't even want to look at the scoreboard. You just want to make sure you're playing the game the right way. Given this tournament, they're going to play against everybody within their group to start. You have to keep getting better. So if I was a Cuba coach and a Cuba player right now, would say let's just play with the basics and make sure we keep running our sets and keep getting better. There's that flex offense. Finishing with the high pick and roll.
Yeah, you've mentioned the flex offense a couple of times. We've kind of described what Horns is, as the 3-pointer by Lewis is no good. Rivero fighting for the rebound. Why don't you talk us through what a flex offense is?
Well, flex offense is a very traditional offense in basketball.
Nice pass inside from Valdez.
Oh, Cuba got to get back.
Yeah. Talk about the flex offense.
It's a very traditional offense in which you have baseline screens followed by pin down screens, and it's a continuous offense. It does not stop. Therefore, you can run it for the 24-second within the same movement. What it does is it obligates the defense to make some decisions. Either they stick with their man or they switch. It's a very effective. That's why it's been around so long.
Now Rivero with the hard foul at the other end.
That's okay. That's how you want to play this game.
And Lewis understands it, gets up, dusts himself off.
They go earn at the line.
Yep. A lot of different names for that continuous motion offense.
Yes.
Princeton offense, it's been called.
That's right.
Free throw is no good by Lewis. I think that's probably the newer term is the Princeton offense. Flex is a little bit more old school term. The Princeton NCAA basketball teams in the 1990s getting into the NCAA tournament and giving the #1 seeds all kinds of fits in the first round every year just because they executed it so flawlessly.
And with the 35-second shot clock, they would have worn out the defense.
Now Now the pass deflected.
There you go. Cuba got back this time. Now they're going to get rewarded on the other side.
Reverse layup won't go. Lewis the rebound. Boy. 3 on the way.
Game gets a little bit sloppy now, but you want to take the wide open shots.
Yeah, you'd think Cuba would kind of maybe learn its lesson a little bit. The times that they've run the floor and gotten back, good things have happened. They haven't always been able to convert, but they've at least gotten some good, clean looks. So Venezuela with 14 to shoot following the out of bounds. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Gient over to Vargas, three-pointer. Back iron, no. Rebound tipped and then controlled by Rodriguez. Gets it over left side to Guzman. His bounce pass across the key. Shot blocked. Goes out of bounds. It's going to stay with Cuba. Esteban Martinez. He's got Justice on the back of his number 13 jersey. Now a three-pointer on the way by Guzman. That's good.
They were able to run their set on the out-of-bounds play, but you would imagine that Cuba has to have that priority to run it on the out-of-bounds play as well as a half-court set.
It's down to 16.
Nice take.
Yep.
Got the switch in the pick and roll, attacked the big man, attacked the heart of defense, and got himself a nice, easy layup.
There's been times that Cuba has defended that pick and roll very well. They've cut off the passing lane, but that time not so much. And now the pass inside deflected and taken away. Who's going to win the foot race? Colmenares gets the ball and draws the foul. That's going to be on Rivero. That's his fourth. So he'll presumably have a seat. Must have gotten off the floor so fast I didn't even see him sit down.
Oh, interesting to see, though, because both teams are substituting so much. No player on the Venezuela team has played more than 16 minutes so far. And on the Cuba side, no player has played more than 19 minutes. And, again, it is a long tournament. You want to get your substitutions in because health is a factor on this tournament.
We saw that in the FIBA Women's Tournament.
Big man go inside with the mismatch. You got to feed him.
a lot of contact inside between big old Mariaga.
Guzman got himself in trouble.
Yeah.
And then he had to foul.
There you see him underneath.
The basketball term, you say mouse in the house.
Yeah.
You want to get him down low there, just nice and easy for a turnaround shot.
That's 2 fouls on Guzman.
And Guzman, that's a good foul. You know you had a disadvantage.
Oh, yeah. Colmenares from the right wing thought about the three. Gets it down to Mariaga on the post. He's working on Haiti. Now back out to Cubalon.
Step back, but
offensive foul. They're going to say he pushed off to make the step back.
It's very hard to create space within the two. He tried, but illegally he pushed off, and the referee saw it.
It's 2 fouls on Cubalon. Yep, a little bit of an acting job there by Guzman, but still a clean foul nonetheless. Oh, pretty feed from Haiti underneath to Guzman.
Haiti is an interesting player. He's knocked down an outside shot. He's taken the ball down low. But most important, he has looked for his teammates on the cuts, and good things that happen when the ball touches his hand, kind of like a quarterback seeing the whole court. So if I was Cuba, I would try to play off of him more.
The foul was on Dwight Lewis. First free throw falls off. So they did not count the shot.
Yeah, foul was on the ground, but given the penalty right now, he went to the line.
Boy, Guzman
way
barely
short.
caught front iron on that free throw.
Got to bend those knees.
Cubalon, right side.
Good cut.
Yeah, good cut and a nice pass, nice take.
That's right.
Nicely executed by Cesar Garcia. And it's 57-37, back to a 20-point lead. 5 seconds to play in the third quarter.
So important at this level to play without the ball.
Granda's shot won't go as time winds down, and at the end of 3 quarters, it's Venezuela 57, Cuba 37. And if Cuba's going to make a run in this fourth quarter, they're going to have to get started early on in this fourth quarter. We're back in Mexico City in just a moment. Welcome back to the Palacio de los Deportes in Mexico City. Venezuela with a 20-point lead heading into the fourth quarter. As we look at some of the individual leaders, Colmenares has 12 for Venezuela. Javier Vargas with 13. Eisler Guillant with 10. Beg your pardon, Jose Vargas has 10 to lead Venezuela. For Cuba, Rivero has 8. Leading rebounder for Venezuela. Jose Vargas with 5. And for Cuba, they have 3 players with 4. Torres, Rivero, and Oliver.
Well, it just happened last possession here for Cuba, and I want to point out for the young players out there, when you try to feed the ball down low, sometimes you cannot lob pass it. You have got to create yourself an angle to either bounce pass or a hook pass, somewhere where the big man has established a target. And Cuba has missed 2 or 3 times where they try to lob it in, and Venezuela is able to suck in the defense and get an interception.
Through 3 quarters, Cuba shooting 25% from the floor, 10 of 40, 2 of 5 from three-point range, 11 of 19 from the free throw line. Venezuela 21 of 36 from 2-point range, 2 of 16 from 3, 9 of 17 from the free throw line. Rebounds in favor of Venezuela, 33-27. Cuba with 18 turnovers, Venezuela with 10.
Well, the low percentage, we kind of expected given both teams are their first game. You want them to get a game in, a sweat. If you're a shooter, get comfortable with the arena. Where are your reference points? They're playing here with the theater lights, which means the court is the one that has the light, not the stand. So not all the people are used to that. So we can kind of understand, given the first game with the low percentage shooting, expect that to increase.
Nice block by Justiz, but
that's how you get
Venezuela
back.
Able to retain possession.
But you appreciate the effort, the big fella getting back and playing, not allowing Venezuela to get an easy deuce.
Long 2 on the outside by Mariaga's no good. Oliva left side. Around the screen. Now back to Justiz, and the pretty left-hand lay-in. Pick and roll executed to perfection that time by the Cubans.
So you've seen a few things from the big fella, Justiz, and you appreciate his effort. And if you're Cuba, make sure you keep running through him and through Haiti throughout these next couple of games.
Cubalon fouled on the three-point attempt by Oliva.
As a coach, you never want to give up that foul.
Yeah.
You don't want to foul the shooter, because if he's already a high percentage shooter, he's going to make you earn at the free throw line. So do not foul the shooter. You want to contest it, and if anything, but don't foul him.
So Cubalon, 3 free throws. He's got 7 points in this game thus far. Make it 8.
Well, Venezuela has started out the game trying to shuffle the defense a little bit. They've gone away from that. You maybe think that coach is also trying not to expose his whole strategy to the other coaches that are here watching.
That's 2 for Cubalon. Will he make all 3? He will. And so it's 62-39. Biggest lead of the game for Venezuela. And now a foul called against Dwight Lewis. That'll be his 3rd.
Let's switch the ball here. Got a little sweat in it.
Actually, that was not a foul called against Lewis. The pass.
You have to create a good angle to feed the ball down low.
Nice follow by Rivero. It just would not go. And
4 and 3.
Cuba still continuing to struggle with some good looks.
Nice pass.
Yep. Rudderall could not score from in close. Foul called. That's on Haiti, his 3rd.
But you got to appreciate the good pass there. He was able to dribble the ball down the middle, feed the big fella with the bounce pass, and make him with the wide open layup. He got fouled, but you appreciate the pass.
So Gretterall to the free throw line.
Want to get that arch up. With a good arch, you have a better angle.
There's another player for Venezuela that's got a birthday coming up on September 10th at the end of this tournament.
And I'm sure if you ask them, they all tell you the birthday gift they want is a win.
Now Haiti, pretty move toward the baseline, goes up strong, but Gratterall is there, but the follow is up and in. Nicely done by Justiz. Cuba trying to claw their way back into this one, still trailing by 22. Now Cox for 3. That rolls off, rebound. Justiz. Rodriguez between the rings, moving to his left. Mid-range jumper won't go by the big man. Ball kicked by Rodriguez. It will stay with Venezuela. Don't forget, coming up at 2:30 local time, it's going to be Uruguay and Brazil.
And Brazil trying to redeem themselves from the last FIBA Americas Championship, where they finished 0-4. Just this summer, Brazil has won the Pan American Games, and they are qualified automatically to the Olympic Games. Therefore, if they reach the final here, the top 2 teams would go to the Olympics. Brazil would open a spot for the 3rd place team. But you expect Ruben Mañana, who's Olympic champion and a very professional coach, as well as the players, to redeem themselves from the last FIBA America Championship.
Yeah, and you never really want to come out and lay an egg in a big international tournament like this, whether or not you have your bid sewn up or not.
Yeah, last tournament Brazil was kicked out in the first phase. They finished 0-4, fifth in the group. Did not even qualify to the second phase, so I'm sure they have a message to send. As well as Uruguay.
Rodriguez. Bounce pass right side to Guzman. Now back up top. Granda. He drives. Nice pass underneath, and the finish by Torres.
Draw the two big man going to the rim and was able to dump it down. The big fella says, thank you very much. I'll put that in.
Nice awareness by Torres to anticipate that pass as well. A lot of times the big man will have his eyes up, look, waiting for the rebound.
And you got to have your hands ready. You got to have your hands active.
that pass will careen right off your chest or your chin sometimes. Now the long three-point attempt. That's good! Heisler-Guillant from three. That was about a 27-footer there.
And Guillant's put himself a nice game today. Playing defense, not getting beaten, pushing some fast breaks. He's got a couple assists. He got 6 assists, and now with the 9 points. So he put himself a little nice package.
Granda for three. He can't answer. Torres fighting for the rebound. He gets it back. Fresh 14 for Cuba. Back down low on the left side. Now Torres from the baseline. His shot won't go. Custiz fighting for it in close. He's going to draw the foul on Graterol. And on Graterol, that's going to be foul number 2. Seems like Custiz realizes that the Cuban offense kind of has to go through him a little bit. He's been a little bit more active.
And that's what happens when you feed him early. He feels involved. He feels that he's got confidence down there. He's going to fight for the offensive rebounds. And that's how you want to treat your big fella. Feed him early and often and play off of them.
Custiz misses both free throws, but he's having a pretty solid game. 8.6 rebounds, 2 blocked shots. Guillant kicks it out. 3 on the way by Vargas. That's no good. And now the foul committed by Garcia. Yeah, they're going to call that on Jose Vargas. No, they did call it on Garcia. Cuba trailing by 23. They've got to get something going in a hurry now. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the game. Custiz won't go off the glass. Now Lewis for 3. No good. And then rebound by Torres. He probably could have been called for a foul there as he pushed off. Rodriguez scoring there for Cuba, making it 66-45. So Venezuela, they're really going to be patient on offense now. They don't need to.
You want to keep running your sets.
Yeah.
Just like that, and you get a wide open three-point on the court. On the corner.
Yeah, a wide open shot with only 2 seconds left on the shot clock, so you burn 22 more seconds off the clock. Even if they didn't score right there, they won that possession. Torres for 3, that's good! Orestes Torres hits for 3, and that gets it back inside of 20 to 18 points. Cuba's gonna have to catch fire in a hurry.
3-man weave up top. Bring down the shot clock a little bit.
Yep. Already inside of 10. Guillant. Just a lot of patience. Another long shot. That's good. 3-pointer. Heisler-Guillant, and that may have done it.
Same spot we hit it from last time.
Yeah.
Felt confident, gave him some room. He said, okay, I'll take it.
He's about 9 meters away. drive along the baseline by Guzman. Gets taken away, and again.
Travel, good call.
Travel, yeah.
He was thinking the drive, and then he saw a player cut, and he said, okay, maybe it's a pass, and got caught in between.
Timeout on the floor. So they're just calling for some substitutions. Neither team called timeout, so we'll keep it here. Coming up on 2.5 minutes to play. Don't forget our second game of the day, Uruguay and Brazil at 2:30 local time, and then at 6 o'clock, Argentina and Puerto Rico, followed up at 8:30 by the Dominican Republic and Mexico. Torres, the running hook in the lane, circles out, but the putback nicely done by Rivero.
And it's important to point out, because everybody will play against everybody. Every game counts. You want to make sure you get the W's, you stack them up, because the top 4 teams are the ones going to qualify to the semifinals. So every game is important as the game before and as the game after.
Giant on the drive, pretty finger roll left hand, and that's good.
Giant's an interesting piece for this team. He's able to change the pace a little bit. Has a nice pass, he's shown a nice touch from the outside. Interesting play. They trap down low. Nice skip pass.
Yeah, and then Oliva tried to get it back in, and the pass got intercepted, and now another easy bucket by Cesar Garcia. So Venezuela likely going to move here to 1-0. And they've taken some three-point shots here at the end of this game, and you wonder if they've got point differential in mind. Now Cuba takes a long 3. That's Molina. It won't go.
In this tournament, you have got to keep that in mind, because you can fall into a 3-team tie.
Yeah.
And most likely, sometimes that will be the difference. The tiebreaker is exactly the points for and the points against. So you want to keep the feet on the pedal and keep pushing independent of the time and the score.
There's another 3. And I think once Venezuela got comfortable with the lead, they started putting up some threes here in this fourth quarter to maybe try to get that point differential up. Yoel Cubila scores. Inside of 30 seconds. Game clock now at 20. Shot clock at 10. Looked like they were going to try for an alley-oop, and Asiel Rivero just...
It said not here.
Yeah, elbowed the player to the floor before he got a chance to take off.
He actually saw it coming, so he played his man. A little bit of chest bump. It wasn't that dirty. It was okay.
So
but he definitely said not happening.
Yeah, Venezuela, I think, going to be content to just dribble it out. Technically, the shot clock went off before the game clock. It's about 0.3 of a second difference, but at this point, it's not going to make any difference. Final score, Venezuela 73, Cuba 52. So Venezuela moves to 1-0. Cuba falls to 0-1 in group play. This being a Group B game. Coming up in about 45 minutes, it's going to be Uruguay and Brazil. As the players exchanging congratulations at center court. Let's take a look at the final stats on this one. Cuba from the floor, 19 of 63 for 30%. 3 of 8 from three-point range for 38%, 11 of 21 from the free throw line for 52%. Venezuela, meanwhile, 27 of 64 for 42%. Their percentage was over 50 for most of the game until they started chucking up some threes there in the fourth quarter. Their three-point percentage, 4 of 24 for 17%, 15 of 24 from the free throw line, 63%. Rebounds about even, 40 to 39 in favor of Venezuela. Turnovers, 21 for Cuba, 12 for Venezuela.
Well,
bench points, 47-31 in favor of Venezuela, and points in the paint, big in favor of Venezuela as well, 44 to 30. Let's take a look at some of the individual numbers for Venezuela. They were led by Heisler-Guillant with 14 points. David Cubalan and Jose Vargas each with 10. Colmenares had 8. Javier Vargas had 7. Leading rebounder for Venezuela. They had 3 players with 5. Vargas, Graterol, and Lewis. Leading in assists, Heisler-Guillant with 7 for Venezuela. For Cuba, their leading scorer ended up being Rivero with 10. Torres finished with 9. Bustis finished with 8. Their leading rebounder. Torres and Rivero each with 7. Oliva and Granda each with 3 assists. So a strong performance in the opening game by Venezuela. Cuba struggled to find consistent offense going forward for each of these two teams. What's next for them as far as being successful in their next round?
Well, if you're Venezuela, you want to stick with what worked for you today. They were able to switch the defensive schemes, especially early on. They played solid half-court defense, so you're quite happy with that. On the offensive side, Venezuela, they're able to run their system. They got clean looks, and they got great bench production. So you want to stick with those throughout the tournament. If you're Cuba, you want to start to pick out the good things. You got some young pieces. You want to keep on building on those. You definitely have to do a better job with the turnovers and the defensive transition. They got to fix that as soon as possible. But both the teams, especially Venezuela, they walk out of here with the philosophy established, and look for them to be some to be dealt with throughout the tournament.
Our next game coming up is at 2:30 local time. About 45 minutes. It's Uruguay and Brazil. Then at 6 o'clock, it's Argentina. Then at 8:30, Dominican Republic and Mexico. My partner, Victor Mansour, I'm Craig Feta saying so long for now from the Palacio de los Deportes in Mexico City. It's opening round play at the 2015 FIBA Americas Championship Tournament. So long for now. We'll see you for Uruguay and Brazil at 2:30.